Greetings. My name is 3D Master Corey Russell, and I have an interesting game to show you. Um, so some of the comments will be my own comments, and my comments are also assisted by the Fritz 16. Excuse me, Fritz 16 chess software. So this game features a fairly level game. My opponent made a mistake, gave me advantage, and then actually created quite a few threats, which forced accurate defense on my part to collect the point. So having said all that, let's get to the game. I've blocked this game, so let's see it from my point of view. E4, best by test, as Fisher says. The opening I'm doing is a modern. I do not recommend the modern for beginners, as it requires very accurate play with black to not get rolled. Um, but the reason I like it, though, is just imbalance, and there's quite often, many times, chances to win. And when I'm playing lower players as a master, that's really helpful to create winning chances. So both sides develop. H3 is not really necessary, but he can get away with that because he's white. Um, Predicts his pawn. So if he does e5, I can take, and go knight d5. That's part of the reason. There's another reason too, and that is if he plays bishop c4, I'm probably going to play d5 to nullify that power of the bishop. This is pretty standard for white to stop b5. The purpose of this is so I can go knight to a6, and then I don't have to worry about it taking it because my rook can recapture. Also, in some cases, restraining b4 can be helpful too. I develop. Fritz says there's 5 games in this exact line. So I want to nullify his bishop. White is slightly better, but that's okay. White's slightly better in most opening lines. He develops. So of course I keep developing myself. You may wonder why I did king h8. And the thing is, I want to play f6 at some point. But I don't want to allow him to go like knight d4, which should be or excuse me, knight e4, but especially something like knight e4, knight d6 or something, or knight c5. So rather than give him that option, I just out of the pin totally, I don't have to worry about it. Of course, I need to keep improving my pieces, so I do that. White, this fairly logical play so far. So this is a pretty good move because if he doesn't take, then f4, of course, that wins a piece. So basically, it gives me a threat. And if he does take, which of course he does, that's okay too, because pawn take and restrains his knight, and in particular, stops 95. So um, either way, I was pretty happy with the results of this. So the reason I played that is I want to not allow any sack on d5, and then when he trades, f4 possibly can be used by my knight, depending on the situation. Although white almost immediately stops it. Yeah, he does. So I connect my rooks. Not sure what that's about. His move. Oh, I see. It's probably just took h3. Yeah. So this knight is not really doing anything. So I'm going to reinforce e6 and possibly support a b5 counter stroke. I don't really think taking is necessary. Right? I mean, yeah, it weakens my d5 pawn, but it gives me some counterplay on the black side, on the queen side. So of course I'm going to push the bishop around, actually. Fritz had a comment here that black has a strong initiative, and that's true. I do have initiative here. his rook. So here's my first mistake of the game. Fritz points out that f5, and if I do f5, then black has a clear advantage. And of course, Fritz is usually right. I didn't want to allow 95, but apparently F4 counterstroke more than makes up for the fact that I allowed 95. Apparently, that's what Fritz basically is saying. Um, but anyways, I didn't want to allow that, which is why I did not do that. I could do B3, but then he just goes bishop B1. So my thinking of that this move is if he takes, then rook take is strong. If he goes B3, then his bishop's trapped, and so you'd be like a piece down. So either way, I was happy. And now black has a clear advantage. Here, white finally messes up. He should do rook e3 and challenge my rook. And now Fritz says I'm winning. Makes sense because the pressure on the A line is massive. So Fritz says his best defense, which isn't really saying much, but best defense he does have is rook b1, rook take a2, rook b4. So he's basically saying this: take, and he gets a pawn, and I guess he still has some pressure or something. But so it's saying that's his best defense. Although instead white tries to be tricky, of course I just go back, and now so basically I traded a rook and bishop for a rook and pawn. He does get this counterstroke, which requires accurate defense on my part. So here the question is where to put my knight. I don't want to do knight c5 because then he can take the pawn. So I'm going to do that. I can't go d4, can't go here. I don't want to go knight g5 because he'll take, give double pawns, and then it opens up the king. Knight d8 interferes with my rook because I might want to swing a rook over to defend the king. So the only option left is knight f8, but he's out of play at the moment. So when I get time, I want to put him back in play. Here, it's Mr. Tricky. If I ignore him like this, he has check, check, and David Queen. So he's being quite tricky here. I, of course, saw his threat, and so because you always ask yourself why they do that. So I move my bishop back to parry the threat. So naturally, I can tempo the queen, so that makes sense to me. I can improve my knight, and it kind of restricts his rook as well. You may wonder, am I trying to win the pawn? I'm actually not trying to win the pawn. And you may also wonder, he can win a rook with this. Well, no, he can't actually, because I have this. Because see, his queen's on pre. In fact, actually, wait a minute. Even better than that is I can just simply go here. Oh, no. Yeah, I can do that. Because his queen's on pre. So, it looks like it's a fork, but it doesn't actually work in this case. So really, I want to trade queens or force it to move out of the way. Either way. In any case, he brings his queen back. Now he is threatening in c4. So I'm like, hey, you want to trade? I mean, I'm a piece up, right? Of course, he does not want to trade. So taking this pawn kind of helps white, actually. So instead, I think a strong knight would be more useful. And here, white has to play queen d1. Although, of course, I guess they have two pawn, but he doesn't have a choice. He tried to be rash, but taking up passant is giving me a really powerful pawn. I defend the pawn. He defends the two pawn. I improve a knight now that I have a chance. It's also slots 95, so it's pretty useful in that sense. And of course, my idea is rook a2 if I get time. Big question. And now he's Mr. Tricky. He's up to his tricks again. He's threatening knight e6 check, which is for breaking the queen. So, like I said, and he's also possibly threatening knight take f5 as well. Because knight take f5, for example, let's say I move my queen to some safe square. I can't go there. Here, let's say knight take, and then queen take. So he'd get two pawns. So Mr. Tricky is being very tricky. I go king f6 to reinforce my pawns and basically disallow the knight sack. And of course, we'll disallow the fork, which is also important. Fritz, Mr. Helpful Ideas, says, I'm hoping for rook a2, and black is clearly winning. Well, black might be clearly winning, but white is making it very tricky here. And of course, I don't want to take the knight and allow queen take, and then I now have to watch out for infiltration. So the question is, where to move the king? I go king e7, that allows knight fork. King g7 allows knight fork as well. And of course, moving up with the king is just silly, like king g5. So that means the correct square is f7. So get my rook, powerful position. Mr. Tricky's at it again. Do I need to illustrate this queen? So now the question is, what's the correct defense? I chose knight e s6 because then the d7 knight still covers the e5 check, so that there's no check there. This covers the pawn, and of course the c pawn is still super powerful. I'm also threatening queen. It also threatens queen d5 check, which it could be pretty helpful too. So this was a really helpful defense. This is check, so I didn't see a reason not to do it. Prevents all sacks in f5 and supports c2 push. So this, I could have taken rook check actually. But this is still plenty good because I'm still threatening the next move. So basically, I gained a knight for a pawn. So either way, it's still fine. So I want to keep my pawn. And of course, the idea of this move is rook b1 is powerful. And I mean, I don't really mind him taking the knight because recapture defends the king. I'm still up a piece. And rook c1 is going to be it's going to be pretty powerful. Here, white resigned, which makes total sense. It's just not going to be able to come back from this. So in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed this game, and I'll see you guys next time.